guys, and once again welcome to Homepage Inspiration Diaries. Now this is just a continuation of my last video, of which I started talking about broilers, and I just wanted someone to get informed on how to rear broilers because these are tricky birds. The reason being, you might raise these birds, and by the time they are mature, you do not have the market. So I take this opportunity to sensitize you that the market is with you, and by the time you start keeping these birds, that is when you start sourcing for the market. It is as simple. Another option is that when there is an event that is just about to come up, you have to calculate the number of days to the event, then backdate the number of days. Immediately you backdate the date. It's a maximum of 42 days. That is when you now begin your project. That is the broiler farming. Now, the last time I talked about basically the broiler chicken, and then we learned a few things here and there from their feeds, the feed types, the time, and today I want to talk about a little bit of their feed calculation, of which they usually have two types of feeds, that is the starter crumbs and the finisher pellets. So basically, broilers are kept for 42 days, and in between these 42 days, their feed is divided into two. There is the starter crumbs, which they feed from day 1 to day 21, and the finisher pellets, which they feed from day 22 to day 42. That is if you decide to keep them for exactly 6 weeks, or depending on how quickly they will gain weight. But basically it is supposed to be 42 days or 35, or anywhere in between 35 to day 42, because they are gaining weight. I think depending on the company that is supplying the chicks, will depend. If the chick gains let's say an average of 1.7, 1.8 at 35 day 35, 36, 37, to 42, 1.8, it's still fine. So it will depend with the type of company that is supplying the chicks, how it adapts to the feeds. Or another challenge will be the feeds themselves. If they are quality feeds, then that will be an added advantage, because the birds will respond quickly, basing on the fact that there is an item that we call FCR, this is the feed conversion ratio. Now, broilers are meant to have a higher feed conversion ratios because these are birds that are designed for a certain period of time, and their work is to produce meat. So that is why the FCR is higher compared to other birds like the layers, the kienyeji birds, the broilers, stroke the improved kienyeji. Yeah, and I think it is something that you should take into consideration, keeping in mind that these birds are not supposed to go long without feed. Okay, or rather they can do without feed for some time, but what you should be providing them constantly is water. So broilers from day 1 to day 21 are supposed to feed on starter crumbs. These starter crumbs, most of the companies nowadays, I think they are very much sensitive in that they produce starter crumbs with coccidiostat, in that the starter crumbs that has the coccidiostat controls feed-borne diseases, and hence they will encourage low mortality. And another thing is that they support rapid weight gain, fast weight gain, to encourage early slaughter, because I have told you that these birds are kept for meat production. So basically that is what we find in starter cramps, that is with coccidiostat. And most of us who understand what coccidiostat is, it is related to coccidiosis. Each bird is expected to consume around 850 grams of starter crumbs to, let's say, 900 grams at a maximum, and also depending on this constant factor that I mentioned. We go to the last stage, and that last stage is probably from day 22 to day 35 or to day 42. If you're doing the broiler keeping in between 35 to 42 days, depending on how your birds will have gained their weight and probably getting ready for the market. So at day, that is week 3 to week 6, the broilers are fed with finisher pellets, still with coccidiostat. In that we understand, or I should make you understand, that coccidiosis is a disease or is an infection that runs from day 1 to maturity of the bird, and also depending on the hygiene. So in between this time, the bird is expected to consume like 2.8 kilograms to 3 kilograms. And as I said, there is a constant that you observe, that is wastage with how you provide feed to the birds. So still in this period of time when you're feeding this bird, we want to control the diseases and also to check on the low mortality. We have to look at the strong body framework to support the rapid gain weight of the birds. Then we are also looking at this last critical condition, that is how faster the bird will gain weight for early slaughter, so in preparation to the market. So whatever I have just mentioned in terms of feeding this bird, there is one constant that I want you as a farmer to observe, and that is wastage. Because when you are doing brooding, there is a procedure, and also how do I say, there is a technique that you use to provide feeds to the birds. So you'll find that the more you waste your feeds, the more of the disposal. So that is what you should consider in terms of when you are serving the birds with feed, the wastage. And another thing that I want to encourage farmers who want to do this broiler keeping, water should be in plenty, and you should just give these birds clean water. Now maybe several times you should give them vitamin, but then water is a constant supplement. In that you'll find that these birds, when they eat, they produce I think their metabolic system generates a lot of heat from their body. So you might find in most cases that these birds are always panting, that is after eating or after feeding. And so you'll find that the ratio of water to feed is like 1:4. And that will explain as to why you might have these birds in a room that has a lot of wood chippings, but then when you come, the wood chippings are wet or they are kept, meaning that these birds excrete a lot, and for excretion to happen, you need to have the feeds and water. So I think I will head on to showing you some calculations, and I will use an estimate of around 50 birds to calculate the amount of feed, so that at least I can guide someone here who wants to do broiler keeping. Stay tuned.
It is so hot, I gotta fade.